Hey guys, it's me T, coming at you with a video of which I promised. What was I gonna say? Today has been a really fucking tough day. I'm not gonna lie. Like where I just feel like I woke up and it was kind of like the weather was a little confusing. Then we have like this, solar eclipse coming in, and that is hey 18. And I always have to say hi to my 18 when I see like a little twinkle. So yeah, I have to acknowledge. But so yeah, so like I was like praying for like basically like just an uplifting type of energy, or like at least like enough to kind of get me through this. And I actually feel like I'm starting to be a little bit better about it. I meditated earlier. I was like praying. I was like, please, because I really do want to do these videos, and I don't want to find an excuse for them. It's just that today was just a tougher day, like emotionally, in terms of just, like I said, like these solar eclipse, new moon energies coming in. And or is it full? Shit, I think it's new. It only makes sense that it's new, I think. Okay. I'm gonna have to double check that because I feel like now I'm getting it all screwed up. But yeah, I mean, and it like started from like this morning where it was just like, like attitudes are just fucking swinging, and I just like had to like literally right before I got on, I like there was another attitude swing from somebody else in the household, and I was like, you know what, I God bless you. That's all I gotta say, because it's like they're like egging me on, but I'm like what I really want to do is just end it and just like slap you in the face and then just like call it a day. Like just end it, to like kind of bring that like solid awareness to somebody, to be like, wake the fuck up. It's not even that big of a deal. But when people hang on to something, it's just like they can like go at it. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of just being whatever, like people are just edgy, you know what I'm saying? And it's really crazy because there's like so much to it. Like there's a maturity level to it, there's a fucking like, just awareness factor to it. So there's just like a whole bunch of things swinging around that I'm just like, enough is enough. I mean, actually I'm just glad that I just literally, stood my ground this morning, because I was like, no, you're not getting away with the shit that happened. And actually, what I got like before I got on here was more so of a repercussion of the fact that, normal, like I was saying, majority of people, they when they deal with something, they don't use it towards the betterment of themselves or others, right? They literally hold it and they harbor it, and they just like, and do you know that if you did that at every second, and by the way, Virgos, I've realized, do this very much so, like with little fucking things. And I'm like, guys, like you're on this earth for so fucking long, like you have to do something with your energy management, because it's like you guys are so lovable and so worth so much love in this world. But the thing is, it's like you don't give yourself enough love for other people to love you just as much as you do, right? So it's just kind of like you're blocking how much somebody can fucking love you. It's just crazy. It's crazy. So so it's just kind of like and I always have, at the end of the day, I always have like it in my mind, because I'm like, and a lot of people don't have this in their mind either, where it's just kind of like, you might just not, like essentially the create whoever created us, whatever you want to call it. I started calling it Grandmaster G, because God, I feel like, is overplayed, is like kind of like being used too much, and I'm more side with like the feng shui aspect of my life. So, I resonate with that more, so I call him Grandmaster G. I also never knew if like my Jewish side, I'm like, should I write the O in between the G and the D? Like I don't fucking know. Like I don't like because I've never read the Torah. Like I don't know, what's the purpose of it. I don't it has something to do with Messiah, I know, but like at the same time it's like, is it necessary? I don't know. Like, like you have to question everything. Fucking question everything. And so and so basically what I'm trying to say is you know, I don't know. I'm just saying that today was a tough day. tougher, like mentally speaking, but I did stand my ground this morning in terms of like what a person can or think they can tell, like basically, come at me with, and what I actually will accept and what I won't be accepting. And so, let me just say what a growth that is, because I used to take everything on, and this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, is I used to take everything on as if I did something wrong, right? And I'm like, oh, fuck, like, man, this person feels bad, I did something wrong. This person feels bad, I did something wrong. And I was like, wow. And I used to really take it on as my own. But this morning, I had like intuitive insight to like just I knew what the fuck was gonna come up. Actually, I didn't know, but then when it came up, I was like, oh, but I have something for it. Like I just like there was a download there, for that situation. And interesting how funny that like works. But so yeah, so the situation like just basically it was just so interesting. I'm not even gonna go into it, but it was just so interesting where somebody feels like they can get up in the morning and blame the shit out of you for something that actually originated from them, and but they were quiet about it, and they knew the truth of the story. But I wish I could just say it, but honestly, it's like it's too much drama. But like the thing is, I just want to like express like the principle and the idea behind it. So the person knows what the story was beforehand, but they want somebody else to fucking clean up the mess. And I literally was up since like so early in the morning, and I wasn't complaining and I wasn't doing anything. I just did what I needed to do, get shit done for the household, and fucking call it a day. Just go, just do your other stuff. And literally like so then I don't know what happened, blah blah blah, like fast forward to, yeah, this person like literally came up to me and was like, when are you gonna do this? Like, when are you going? And first of all, if you fucking approach anybody with that fucking tone, like, don't ever expect anybody to do shit for you. That's all I gotta say. Like, you'd be fucking dumb to do that, because it's so easy to just be kind and lighthearted, especially in the morning when everybody's on the same page. When I can tell you, like, if you ever asked somebody and said, hey, would you rather have a bad fucking mood in the morning or a good mood? No one's gonna say, oh yeah, I fucking rather be in a bad mood up until I have my fucking coffee. Actually, a lot of people say that shit, and it's actually a said thought because they've been like trained to think that way. And it's like the cool thing is like I understand if you just got up and you're like still like not in the zone because you need like a little bit to wake up, but don't even blame, and you didn't have your coffee this morning or whatever the fuck. That's like so mental. People just don't realize that like this is a story that everybody's fucking following and you've never even questioned it. So so anyhow, so long story, that's where I stand. That's all I gotta say. So, but also, I don't know, maybe I have like a different fucking magical power than everybody does. Who the fuck knows? Like where I know that I actually wake up in the morning and I try to be at my happiest and most peaceful and most harmonious level ever for myself and for other people, because I just feel like it helps everybody. But at the same time, like it does take me a little second to like wake up. Like I don't want to be hit with anything crazy. But thank God I was like already kind of in the flow, and then this person, whatever, had it like tried to hash it out with me, and then I like basically was like, no, man, like you want to go there, but I'm not gonna go with you, and so you're on your own. Like and basically he's like, oh, I've been very patient in order to wait for you to get this done and this, and I was like, this is whatever. I'm just gonna like X out the drama. It's just so like to me, it's just so stupid, because it's like instead of discussing something very small and being very and taking it in like as a harbored grudge fest for yourself, like just fucking handle it. Either just handle it or just fucking ask somebody else to do it, which wasn't asked of me. It was just demanded, and it was more so like, when are you going to do this? And then I just turned around and I was like, hey, listen, the truth of the matter is I'm actually not the original person who fucking made this mess, who created this mess. And we both fucking knew who it was out of the both of us, which was, it was him. But I'm not gonna blame anybody either, because it's because I don't play the fucking blame game. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I just don't do that. So he understood what I was talking about, and um and then he dealt with it himself, and I was just like, that's right, because like at the end of the day, you are going to try things, you're going to try people, but that's also being very that's coming from a non-mature, victimized type of mentality as well, where it's like, oh, poor me has to do all this bullshit. And I was like, it's not poor you, it's just something that fucking happened. Let it go. And now I'm getting the second round of repercussion from it, because that person was unable to let it go because he didn't have an outlet of where to write about it, talk about it, whatever. That's why I'm like so grateful, because I'm like actually processing. Also, even though I did my work in terms of the processing of it to help other people, to kind of like realize that the whole message behind this is, and part of the reason I feel like why I'm a chubster is, I mean, not that I care anymore, but I'm saying like, part of the reason why I was a chubster growing up is because I was taking on all of these people's energy, and since I was so go with the flow and kind and whatever, like I just felt like, and they say that usually like around your belly, like you just gather this protection around you, because you feel like you need to protect yourself in terms of other people's energy. And I'm like, in a sense, that was the case, but no. But this morning it showed me totally different. I was like, oh shit, I really fucking outgrew that, because the truth of the matter is, it's like I know the truth, and I know how I act, and I know, and I'm not saying that another person is bad for trying to blame me for something, but at the end of the day, you're choosing to do that, and it's totally out of alignment with being on your own good side, right? Like, and it's so funny because I was thinking about it today, and I was like, man, I said, if only I can be the friend to people that they like, if only people can befriend themselves as they were to be a good friend to others. That's all you need to do in this life. Like, that's exactly it. And as you do that more and more out of habit, you will start to gain this empowerment of yourself, and you will always be there for yourself. And that's basically what it is. It's like, it's like if somebody asks you, like, did you eat an Oreo? And it was like maybe the last Oreo, and you don't want to fess up to it. So you're like, no, I didn't even eat the Oreo. I didn't see it. I didn't do any. Like, why are you blaming me? All of a sudden, like, attack mode. And it's just like, bro, how easy is it just to be a little fucking egoless and be like, yeah, I ate the fucking last Oreo. I wanted the Oreo, and I fucking had it, and it was delicious. Like, then everybody gets over it. Maybe somebody would get pissed and be like, yo, T, how did you fucking eat that last Oreo? I really wanted that. Da, da, da. So, some sort of discussion can come from it or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, just fucking be real. Just be real, because the more in motion you are with the realness, the more real you get back from other people, the more happier you are, the more in alignment, the more not giving a fuck of anything. You get into that space of like, and I'm not saying not giving a fuck in a bad way. I'm saying not giving a fuck about what other people think about you, right? Because that's the whole case. That's the whole, one of the really, good points in life, in one of the directions you want to kind of get into. Excuse me. Okay, so then I was like, okay, so I dealt with that this morning. Then we're putting that to the side. And I was like, man, like, the ego was in my way today, and I was just like, oh damn. I was like, where it was like, no, oh, and just to finish that last thought up, I wrote it down too, where it was like, sensitivity is what absorbs energy, right? That's why I was absorbing at such a young age, because I was sensitive. So I was just like, because I just remember I fucking like blew up at one point. Like, it was like from 7 to like, I think 7, from age 7, I think it was good. And then like 8, 9, 10, I just like blew the fuck up. Like I was like, what the fuck happened in between those ages, you know? So it's definitely something to like look more into. But what I came to a realization today, which was, yeah, that sensitivity absorbs this energy. But when you're a pure empowering mirror of sorts, and that's what in spirituality you're taught, but I always like question like how that was and like in what ways, and do I really believe that, and how does that work, all this stuff. They say that everybody's a mirror image of each other, like, so your behaviors, your what you basically believe out in the world, like it comes back to you or whatever, you know. um and so, but then I was thinking, I was like, but then in that situation, I was actually being deflective, which is very interesting because, like, a mirror is reflective, but it's also, there's an empowering essence to you that if you are the mirror of somebody else, you must fucking deflect their shit because guess what? At the end of the day, it's not yours, right? So the empowering is the detaching of the situation and the deflecting of it. And I was like, holy shit, that was such a crazy realization because I was always the taker on, the absorber, the, you know, like, okay, I'll handle it, no problem, blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, I was like, yo, this isn't even my shit, right? It's like, I'm not the one choosing to have an attitude. I'm not the one picking a fight with you. I literally, like, the dude fucking walked out the door and he was just like, from what I recall, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, A, you're still choosing to hang on to it. B, wasn't even small to begin with. I mean, it was a small fucking thing to begin with. That's what I meant to say. And see, I was like, yo, like, if I were you, like, if I was you, but if I was even your friend, I'd say to you, yo, let that shit go. But I can't tell him that because he's gonna get so pissed off and he'd be like, oh, you know fucking everything, da da da. But like at the end of the day, I like feed him that thought. I'm like, yo, let that shit go. Like it's not a big deal, you know. And because if a friend were to tell him that, he would automatically listen. If it was me telling him that, who somebody's used to, then he would say, yo, T, fuck you. And that's it. And like, peace out, right? So there was another thing that I was going to say when I was like, oh, and then he was like, oh, but and I was like, listen, and I told him straight up, I was like, you're the one who started the fight, dude. Like, from early in the morning, you started with an attitude. And you can't say that you didn't start a fight when you approach the situation with an attitude because that's automatic fighting stance. That is fighting like 101. Like if you approach a situation with an attitude, that is automatically a fight. That's in my eyes, that's how it is. I don't know how it is with you guys, because rarely are you going to get somebody with, you know, who has the fucking patience to deal with your ass and to be like, "Oh, let's calmly sit here and let's like listen to you have an attitude towards me." Like who the fuck wants that? No, I'm gonna actually shut that off because, and the thing is that can escalate, but I don't even want you to like I'll listen to you, but like it pisses me off that like I just like listen to your tone, you know what I'm saying? Even though I've been taught not to listen to the tones of anybody because that again is an energy that hasn't been dealt with. So the tone is not there. The message is in the words being spoken, not the tone. So I also could have been a little bit more helpful, but you know what? I saw what was being done in terms of what this person was trying to get away with, in terms of how in and how out of alignment it was for both him and I, and you weren't going to get away with it. So I just said, no, I'm not doing that, thank you, and that's it. And I called it a day, and I kept my energy because it's all about how you keep your energy maintained. So once you make that decision in your head and you stick to it, like, no, this is, I've already said no, like I'm doing something, I'm busy, you cannot talk to me like that, and you know, thanks for coming though, bye. Like, you know, close that door, just close the door, and that's good. And if that person, and usually it does, usually gets people fucking, you know, lividly pissed, that again is not that's not your issue, that's theirs, you know what I'm saying? And it takes so much practice because I've had to be very and it's more of a practice and awareness to be like, what the fuck is really going on here? Because it's not anything, you know, it's so whatever, like that's what it is. It's just like more of an awareness. It's like what's the underlying essence to this, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what you want to like more so look for, and then open up a conversation from there to be like, yo, what is really going on now? This morning I was not having it because just because out of the sheer fact that I was like, I just wasn't. I was doing actually something. I was doing something like in terms of focusing, concentration. And now you want to like sidetrack me, and I was like, no, I'm not. It's you. You already did enough side. You know, like where I was sidetracked enough for a while, but I'm like, no, I have to get back to what I was doing. You know, and right, like when we split off, like when the kind of like moment kind of like, you know, like left the both of us, like where it concluded, where I thought it was, you know, I thought it concluded. For me, it was concluded. For him, I guess it was like more of a story being told. But again, he's more so pissed off at himself because he wasn't honest with the both of us and himself, right? So like that's the whole thing, and I don't know if I mentioned that before, but that's really where it's the furthering of emotions comes into play. So he doesn't know, but I right away wrote about it. Like I was like, I have to get this off of my chest. But it was just interesting because I like was laughing because of the fact that I was like, I literally like when I was speaking out loud, I was like channeling like Gary Vaynerchuk. Like I like right away his like his voice, his essence like came into me, and I was like that was like the spice that got through to this kid. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, man. So like that was just something that I was like, okay, this is just, you know, like this is just it's just life, you know, it's life. And I was happy in how I dealt with it because, you know, you really can, those types of little things can completely escalate to like even bigger things. But the thing is, you have to be humanized up to be like, you know what, it's not worth it. Because the thing is, it's like I don't even care about the situation enough to even bring it up as a topic, right? So it's like that's what it is. So let me just see what I have here. Yo, it's so humid out too. Like it's like humid and moist out today. It's so interesting. So okay, so today I was like coming up, I trying to come up with different topics um that I wanted to talk about in terms of my day 3 video. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I was kind of like, you know, I was kind of actually, I realized that I was outside of myself as I was trying to be like, what should I talk about? What should I talk about? Because it was more so like for, you know, you want to do, you want to bring value to other people. So it makes sense, right? But the key to making really good videos is more so going off of your own experience, right? Um, so excuse me, I like just ate, so I'm gonna like be burping, I guess, this entire time. Um, so I was like, no, I was like, come back to center, which is me, which is, and I'm not talking about self-centered. I'm talking about what I know best. And so I got back into my center, and I was thinking to myself, well, okay, what did I learn from this morning? And also, how can I better it? And what am I emotionally going through right now? Also, because, you know, topics are always better when they're relatable. Like when they're, because what I can like literally out of thin air choose two topics to talk about, two tips to actually mention, and have them mean like, you know, have them be something that I know, but not something that is fresh for me, right? So this morning was a freshism for me where I was just like, okay, well, I just dealt with this, so I can literally talk about that because I've, you know, you know, I was proactive in how I wanted to live my life on a better note. So I did. So that was a topic that I chose was or was a tip that I shared, which was when you are in, you know, a heated argument or something pops off, like for you throughout the day where you're just like, fuck, like I didn't mean for this to happen. And this is like, this is all like, it just throws you off. You know, those situations that even are like the tiniest fucking little tidbits and they just like end up throwing you off energetically. And then you could have already started out like today was already kind of a tougher day on me, and he and this other person didn't know that, right? So and I could have easily said, yo, you know, it was my brother. So I was like, yo, I was like, I could have been like, yo, Steve-O, like, I honestly, today's like a tough day. Like, can we not have this conversation right now? but I know him already, or I know of his personality already. Put it that way, because I'm never gonna say I know a person fully, never ever, because there's so much potential to just one person that like I'm never gonna say that I know a person fully. I don't even know myself fully, so I can't even say that. So because every day is a discovery if you really want to get to know yourself better, which is a smart fucking thing, because you at the end of the day have yourself and you need to know yourself better to be optimal, to work at an optimal level and to optimize yourself at a better level for other people if you want to do that. If you're here for that, if you think you're here for that, and if you, yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. Like, what I mean, I don't see any other purpose. Why the fuck else are we here, right? Is to kind of get to know ourselves as a human being and as a person, how we function, but also, see what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, what do we want to do, what are our dreams, and then help other people. Like, what else is there to do, that we have in common, that like we that can connect us. Those are the things that like I think is like the most important purpose, to you being here. Um and that can be at a small level and that could be at a big level, and or it could be both, or it could be mediocre, like happy medium. That's what I am. I'm like, I show up for myself and I show up for other people, and I show up, in quiet times for myself, and I show up in quiet times for other people as well, right? So quiet, loud times, however you want to work it, you work it, and that's when it's the most genuine. So today, yeah, that was my one tip, is when you go through one of these things, whether you're female or male, just do it. Where when you split off from this person who brought you that kind of like negative, toxic, unwanted energy, you literally go grab right away, like drop everything, because nothing's that as urgent as you think it is. Um, and you like right away you go and you grab your computer, or you grab a paper and pen, and or pencil, whatever, crayon, whatever the fuck, whatever writing utensil you have, just write it, right? And write your feelings and purge them, right? But then also make sure to, like, I can only share 2 minutes in this video, so like I just literally was like, just go write about them and turn them into positive golden nuggets, which is, that's what you're essentially doing. But you also have to sometimes, recognize how you feel and why it made you feel that way, and then take the golden nuggets as, as like your gratitude, as your gratefulness towards this scenario. Because every scenario, no matter how fucking annoying it is, no matter how dark it is, no matter how whatever, there's always something of the light in the darkness, which was in my last video. So you got to pluck it. You just got to pluck it. It's kind of like plucking a flower out of the garden. You just have to, you have to create your own bouquet. So just create a beautiful bouquet out of it, and just be like, okay, this was a beautiful like delivery that I did not see coming, but it was delivered and it arrived and I accept it, right? Like, I just accept it for what it is. And you can literally see what the hell. And it's so crazy, because like a lot of the times you go to write stuff down about the scenario, but then what ends up happening is there's this golden nugget where, and essentially, well, yeah, this golden nugget where you literally find out more about yourself through just the act of writing it. You're like, oh my god, I wrote that, like, whoa, that's crazy. Or like, there's just some sort of magical transformation that happens with it, that allows you to purge, right? Because you're going to get it out of your system. Because again, like for me, I didn't start it, but even for the person starting it, like, write it down before and after. How about that? And then you're able to actually more approach the scenario of talking to somebody about it on a more even keeled type of level. And both people are then able to rebalance really quickly and bounce back into their daily lives more quickly than they would have if you didn't say anything, or if you didn't write it. So that was one topic that I shared, and I should have done this in the last video, but I don't know what I did in the last video. I'll try to remember it. If not, it's okay. Then I shared, like, another thing is like, just do what you think is do something. So doing videos, right, is getting you totally out of your comfort zone because you're kind of like especially okay when you're not used to doing them every day, when you're showing up to them as if they were your job, and like you don't really want to, like I personally don't really want to do that, but like at the same time it's practice and I do want to show up for it every day, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like what I signed up for. I know what I got myself into, so I have to keep that commitment if I want to get better at it, you know? And but like so alongside of like, you know, showing up and doing something out of my comfort zone, which is, you know, the videos, even though it's funny, I was thinking the 18 this morning and I was like, thank you for allowing me to find this as my comfort zone, because as crazy as it is, like sometimes like today, like I was being honest, like I really didn't feel like doing a video, but today I was like, no, it's gonna be really good because I just feel like, you know, I can help so many people by processing my own stuff. And even though sometimes, because I'm just sometimes afraid that like it'll come off as drama and like no one needs to know about my shit, and like, you know, like it's like we really like, and I want to keep a lot of people like out of it. Like I don't really think that it would be considerate of me to, you know, constantly be talking about like the negative shit that like me and my brother go through, or you know, but like it's actually, it's so not like we had a really good we had a really good like stretch there, by the way. Like it's just funny because like, but like the thing is I never rest on that aspect of it because it's like I know he still has so much growth to you know go through, so I'm never kind of like, I'm not one to be like, oh you fucked up that, you know, you fucked up the stretch that we had, the good stretch, and it's like fuck it, it's gonna get fucked up, like whatever, you know, like I don't even, I'm not attached to that. So um so um I'm like just trying to think. Okay, so we were just talking about, you know, so doing something. Okay, so besides the this video that I'm coming at you guys with, it, I was like saying how you should do something, like put it on your to do something different every day, different whether it be like scary or different whether it be, you know, outside of your comfort zone every day, so that you can like literally you know, begin to live your life in it, making your uncomfortable zone your comfort zone, right? Because that's how you actually get more adaptability, like adaptable skills. Like you gain skills that are you know, that help you with your adaptability, which will allow you to transition throughout your life in terms of very, you know, like different things really quickly, or more quicker than you expected. You know what I'm saying? Because you know they're like we are expected to do that in a sense. You know, excuse me. Yeah, like we're expected somehow. Like, you know, that's why I always say like it's kind of crazy how like everything is attached in a sense, like it's webbed, but it's like the whole point of life is also to learn detachment. So it's just kind of crazy how that is, right? Um because the whole thing is it's like it's intertwined. Like for instance, when you go through a breakup, right? You still got to go to work, you still got to pay bills, you still got, you know what I'm saying? So the faster you can transition and become more adaptable towards things, the easier things will be on you, you know? And that's what it is too. And writing is a part of that process, or even YouTubing about it, or you know, do something creative to kind of get it out of your system. You know, even if you're like a pottery, you know, creator, it's like go into your studio and, you know, just be like, okay, my intention is to get, you know, to literally create something out of this, out of what's been like bothering me, you know what I'm saying? And something beautiful will come from it, you know, but it's like you just have to have that intention put into place so that your A team kind of knows that this is exactly what you're going through. And sometimes magically enough, I love how the universe works. It's like sometimes even when we don't ask for it, they know what we need anyway. And even though there's free will, it's like I really choose to believe that they help us out with what we need to be asking for, but like sometimes that we don't have the courage to ask for. So it's like they just like no, you know, they're like really they're way more intelligent than us in terms of, they're already way ahead of the game. They know what's going to work for you, what isn't. So it's like you can always rely upon that somehow you're going to heal from that whatever it is that's bothering you. But the whole thing is you can do it faster, and you can literally co-create the healing with them if you were to just give yourself over to it, as a healing. um or as like a healing, like, as a person willing to heal, that's what I meant to say. So, okay, so all the things that, like, I literally was like dealing with today, where I was just like, okay, let me just, and this is another really good thing too that really can apply to anything, and also going back to the writing, is sometimes when you really sense your ego like kind of getting in the way of things, of what you want to do. Like, for instance, I wanted to do, this video, and it was more so with my 2 minute video. It was just kind of like, no, I don't feel like doing it. No, no, no. It was like a kid, like, that was resisting, a little kid that was resisting. And I literally had to say to myself, like, I literally had to picture in my mind me grabbing the reins from the ego, just to be like, give me that, you know what I'm saying? And then grabbing the reins of my own horse, right? And being like, no, I tell myself what to do, not the ego. Like, I do it, you know what I'm saying? And that helped a lot too, where it's like I was able to imagine, like, nope, this is the way that we're gonna go, this is the route we're gonna go, this is the speed we're gonna go at, and I just like chose everything, and that was really helpful. And also, I wanted to say, going back to the writing, is like sometimes, a lot of people, this is the thing, I'm just trying to bring like different techniques to you, so that it's like on a quicker basis, because I know sometimes people are lazy and they don't want to write things out. Like, even when it comes down to themselves and good ideas, like, people don't even fucking write down good ideas. You know what I'm saying? They'll just like keep it into themselves, and then they'll forget about it, and hopefully they'll like wait upon luck to pop up and being like, oh yeah, I did want to do that for myself one day. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love lists. Like, create a list for everything, and just have, or go and just write down, whatever you need to write down, because it's so helpful. It gets it out of your brain. It makes it real as you're writing it. You then remember it actually better, and you're able to kind of like, I don't know, somehow the brain is really interesting in how it works. Like, it files it away itself, and then it brings it back up when it needs to. And then you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, because I guess it attached itself to you doing something about it, right? So, which is the writing it down, essentially. Um, so yeah, so I was just basically, I found myself just writing things down, like, just to get me through, different things that were bothering me. And, I have actually, what I do is just, as a tip also, I have a notebook, and it's like very small. It's like, it's handheld, it's very small. And I've been trying every day that whatever comes to me, I just write it down there. And, at the end of the week, or hopefully, I mean, I just like have it in mind that when I do have, um, like, an admin assistant at one point in my life, that we will together like sit down, and, or I mean, not together, but like we will just, I've already created a space, like, as an e-files, for like all the different types of like genre of notes that I would have. And so we would just like kind of on a nightly basis, as we're closing things out, as I'm kind of planning for the next day, I would just have my admin assistant just like kind of file these ideas away for me, just so that I know that if I need, some sort of idea for some certain thing, like, I know where it is, and I know I can go back to it. You know what I'm saying? I still haven't found the most ideal way to, like, kind of what to do with my good ideas, but like, but I'm actually, as long as you're being proactive about them, that's all that matters. But the thing is, sometimes you can't be proactive about everything. And like, especially when you're like a highly creative person, it's like, it's just more so important for you to write it down and then work on them whenever the timing is right, because that's what I really truly believe. Let me just grab my water real quick. It's right here. Thank you. Okay, so This is one thing that I like felt within me that I was like resisting, and I wrote down I'm not a fan of reading out loud. Just because I feel as though people are waiting on me. And it's funny because what I mean by that is, before you get in on a video, you're really supposed to kind of structure yourself, like in terms of, what are the two tips you're going to be talking about and how are you going to be talking about them, and like, what examples are you going to use and this and that, right? But the thing is, and the mentor encourages you to write this down, and I agree fully. Like, you really should, like, any talk show host, for instance, has a card in front of her because she needs to, like, to kind of assist her with the next, transition. So it makes sense to do that. For me, though, I just like feel like very kind of restricted by that sometimes. And I just like, so this is me practicing as I'm reading off of this right now to you guys. It's like I'm allowing myself to practice this with you so that I can read it, I can like process it a little bit, and then discuss it. And even being okay with the fact that you might have to wait on me for a couple minutes, for yeah, just a few minutes, like until I, or a few seconds. I want to shorten it down to seconds in terms of you having to wait, because at the same time, I've been taught that actually by my father. He was like, don't keep people waiting, like don't. And that's like the society that we live in too, is like their focus, has gotten shortened, which I actually don't choose to believe that. I feel like we're focused on interesting shit. We will stay focused for quite a while if we're interested. So I don't think that, like, if you're captivating, people are going to just, they're going to lose their essence or their time, their notion of time as they're listening to you. So it's kind of like if you're interesting, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like I need to kind of do I really need to be worried about, oh my gosh, these people have stuff to do? And it's like, well, if you, I mean, hopefully I have something to do, but also this is something learning. This is, this is important too, so, and also it's interesting because there's so much self-worth here too, just by that one statement that's coming up for me, where it's kind of like I have to allow myself to receive the time from you guys too, essentially, to be like, wait a second, like, I'm worthy of your time. You know what I'm saying? And so I can't be selling myself short in the same time, right? So it just makes sense. So like, if I'm giving you time, you just have to bear with me to give me the time, So it's a very yin yang, and it's very giving and receiving type of a system. And I have to be okay with that flow, and how it comes out. And sometimes it's going to be slower, sometimes it's going to be faster, depending on the days. Just like, you have fast days at work and you have really slow days at work, and you have, I mean, you can compare it to anything. The next thing I have is, so when I read from bullet points, I feel as though I wrote this down really quickly. I feel as though I ridge it up and things don't flow with ease after that. So yeah, I mean, that's what it is. That's like me right now, right? Like, I have to kind of pause and then say, and then pause and then say. And it's just kind of like, I feel like I'm driving a car and I'm not on a highway. I'm more so at a like local, I'm driving on a local route that has a lot of lights. And I'm just like, I don't want to stop at the red lights. Like, I just don't, or at the yield lights to be like, let's see what else I'm going to talk about today. Like, that's, to me, I just feel like, I don't know, it just restricts me, and I feel rigid sometimes. Like, I feel like it takes me longer to figure out what to say about that thing than actually having to just have it roll out of me naturally, right? So that was something else I had to touch upon. Um, then I don't like people watching me and what I'm doing so intensely. Oh, that's the funny part, is that's my tip number 2 that I shared today in the video, which was, so I don't know if I mentioned, but like, so I had that, yeah, I think I did mention So the tip number 2 was do something different other than the YouTube videos for yourself every day to get out of your comfort zone or to get into your uncomfortable zone, right? And 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 some people think that's scary, but like it's not. But one of the things that I did do today was just that, and that's why I share that tip, because it's a huge like growth and expansive aspect of it. And interestingly enough, like day three is a very expansive type of number, so it makes sense that I naturally was talking about that for a couple of seconds. And so what this does actually, so it's just funny because so what I did today was I like stepped outside because I was getting to go outside. And I was like, you know what? I love sitting on stoops. Like I love sitting on like the bottom of steps, and I am like as if I'm like on like a cigarette break. I love it. Like I don't know what it is. I just like perch myself on there and I just like hang. So I feel like a little kid. So I just, I did that today right outside of my home, and I just kind of like, and then I did my video from there. But the thing is, it's funny because I have neighbors that are out a lot. Like I mean, we have like we're not so on top of each other, but like when you talk, like you can literally hear each other talk from a distance, and I'm just like, fuck, like this is like that's fine if I'm just like regularly talking, but I'm like I'm doing a video, so I'm like I don't want them actually seeing it and then questioning and then like just I don't know, being in my way. Like I just like doing things, more alone in that aspect, or more like less distracted, because it's very distracting for me because I'm an empath, so I feel energies. And then not only that, but like then my own mind starts thinking, well, what are they thinking? What are they going to say something to me? Are they not going to know that I'm talking to somebody, or that I'm recording and they think I'm talking to somebody so that they can interrupt, and all that shit that like goes through somebody's head. So it's like it's just that's why I'm like, and I like to do things like I said, like quietly, where it's just kind of like not everybody needs to know my business, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm talking smart things and relatable things to everybody, basically, like it is pretty much relatable to all ages. But the thing is, sometimes I don't want to get distracted from what my heart needs to say, and sometimes the mind gets in the way of that. Like if I'm outside knowing that somebody's outside with me, and then I'm like, okay, because it's awkward. It's not like a conversation you're having. You're literally needing to focus so that you can get more value out to the people. Do you get what I'm saying? And also a focused value, which is very important. That's why you do write down your bullet points, your goals of what you're going to talk about, because you want to keep it direct for yourself too. I mean, direct is really appreciative on in all. I mean, if you can handle it, which I absolutely can, because I love siding with the truth. Those that can't side with the truth can't really handle the directness. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was like, how would that apply here? I don't know, but like I guess because I'm like thinking about how they too deserve the directness, but sometimes and they're those people. It's not to say that those people are gonna be like okay with you taking your time. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the fuck that was, but you know what I'm saying. It's just one of those things that I just like. I don't like when people, and I was getting that too. Like I was washing dishes this morning. Um, Usually it's better to do them at night, but since I was like really sleepy last night, I just like ended up falling asleep. But like I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if anybody was with me right now, which they are, it's your A team all the time. But like if anybody was with me right now, I was like, they would be like watching me wash the dishes, and I'm like, and I don't like when people do that. Like I like when people like talk to me as I do something, or that's cool, like keep it lighthearted, but like at the same time I'm like totally so hyper aware and hypersensitive to other people's awareness, that because I am that to myself, that it's just like I don't like to be put on the spot like that. And I have to write about that too, because it's like, why is that? But I guess I'm like growing out of it in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm like giving myself over to a video, like that's being put on the spot, but it's kind of like not happening in real time. So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't mind it, but like in real time, I don't know. I would have to find like the like explanation, the story that my mind would mesh well with in terms of why is that and how can we make it better. So that's a good idea. That is a good idea to look into. Actually, I'm gonna write that down. Why is it? I'm gonna just put why this because I already have it written down. Like, what is that? So, well, why is it? Why is it that I don't like that? Also, yeah. Oh, so here's another tip. Actually, when it comes down to creating videos, is a lot of people don't know. Actually, the past one or two I did right. I literally looked at the video, and I don't know why. Something made me do it, but the thing is, my best tip is don't look at your videos like ever again, because here's what I put down: because they are now part of your past. So detach. This also helps you deflect and discern any and all criticism that may come your way. Another deflection, which is you're deflecting in a good way, because it's kind of like sometimes, just with criticism, just like with criticism or whatever, when somebody tells you something about yourself, and it might be in a negative kind of tone or aspect about yourself that you're not, no one wants to hear, then it's like sometimes we get like upset with that person, or we get upset at ourselves for being like that. But the thing is, like, a lot of the times we don't give ourselves the time to think about, well, okay, cool, so I have an awareness now of what else I do in this life, because we don't have that perception of, from the outside looking in at us, right? But also, when it comes down to it, what else? So we don't give ourselves the time in terms of like this is what I've learned, like kind of like like in my midlife, I want to say, like up until now, is like more so we must give ourselves the time to think about what they had to tell us, like that thing that came in as kind of like fact. We can't take it in as fact anymore. We have to take it in as, okay, that's one perception out of so many. Good thing that you got it, because it's a gift again, right? But the thing is, it's like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel as though they're right? And do you feel as though you really need to work on that aspect of yourself? Or do you feel as though like you, like sometimes sometimes people like tell you things because they're having to deal with their own emotions about that certain one thing, right? So a good example would be, and not to get totally sidetracked, but a good example would be, a friend of mine was telling me about how one of her uncles had an experience growing up with a brother and a sister of his own. And he's like, oh, you better watch out for so and so, because, as a third child or something like that, like you tend to get like ignored or something like that. So what essentially he was warning her about this thing that he has a story about internally in himself that he has yet to deal with. But he was like warning her to be like, just watch out for this, because that can happen or whatever. And so, but also at the same time, it's just like, well, she now has an idea to be like, well, so that's your story, and that's a good, like, I guess that's a good tip. But the tip can be like tip I was gonna say the tip can be tipped off. That makes no sense. But like more so, like the tip off is just like, it could be either the jump off, or it could be like actually like jump off of it. Like, don't even go there. You know what I'm saying? Don't even entertain it, you know? So hopefully that explained what I was trying to say. But like, more so just, to summarize, what I'm trying to say is be discerning for yourself. Again, be your own friend, be your own best friend. Like, if a friend were to step in and back you up on something, right? So let's say that person who approached you criticized you on something. It would be actually smart to be like, okay, my BFF, or take anybody who really fucking loves you so much that they do anything for you, back you up or whatever. If you can't be discerning for yourself enough, just ask, like, mentally say, what would this person think about what this third person is saying about me right now, and see if that's actually, something that you want to take in on for yourself. Because sometimes people don't realize it, but they have different things within themselves that they've had, that they've left unsettled and unresolved. So, like, for instance, like, and it could be like an emotion, it could be like, some sort of, I like to call the jealousy word the J word, because jealousy doesn't really exist in my life, because I don't give that shit. I never gave it power. I never will give it power. And that can happen. And so may that be for you guys too, because you have to be happy with what you have. And you can't, there is no, like, jealousy doesn't add anything great to your life anyway. So it's like, and again, it's just like harboring something that it's just like, you're so like, why don't you have this, or whatever. It's so stupid. It's just like something that you can't change, and yet why the fuck would you be jealous? Because it's like, you have so much more than you already know. Then actually, you have so much more than, let me just fix this. You have so much more than you even know about, when it comes to you, yourself, and you, that it's just like, why would you ever put that down in any way for somebody else? Because what, they have something maybe better than you, but that doesn't mean you don't have something better than them in a different realm. You know what I'm saying? If you want to really compare like that. But like, comparing is also really stupid, because it's, again, there's only one of you in this world, guys. Like, you can't be comparing yourself to anybody. You can be looking on to be like, hey, what are these people doing? Like, that's kind of cool, whatever, But you cannot be comparing. Looking on is actually really smart, because you're like opening up your own world to your own self. Like, you're expanding yourself. You're like, oh my God, that should exist. Like, you didn't know. But to compare yourself is a fucking small-minded thing to do. And it's literally, and I was thinking about it today. I'm like, if you were to compare yourself, and this is kind of why I don't even look back at my videos, is because I don't want to put myself down in any which way. And maybe I'm scared of doing that, but also I literally choose to be like, that was in my past. Like, so, and if I feel good, and if I feel right about the creation of it, then that's the energy that I want it to still have. I don't want to go back into my old videos and being like, oh damn, like, and obsess about it. Imagine, like, you could literally so easily become obsessive about it too, to be like, wow, I really fucked that up, or wow, and then, like, look at all the nitty gritty. But it's just like, listen, do the best that you can in your right now. Post it if you feel really good about it, and if and or delete it and create it again. I've had to do that too, by the way, like a couple of times, because I don't like I didn't like, there was noise in the background, just like there is right now. There's like a tutor. There's a train going by. Also, like, I didn't like I just felt like a little scatterbrain. But then it's interesting, because as I'm also, this is a really good tip too, as I'm like creating these 2-minute videos, there are usually, I like to just like bust through them and just like give it, just go through them. But I guess because it's a little bit of a different realm for me, like, I have been doing them over about twice and then posting the third one. And just because, like, I think I have to just do that process a little bit to get out of my own way, and then just being like, no, I'm really doing this, like, fuck it, I don't give a shit, because the I don't give a shit aspect of it is purely golden, because of the fact that it's just like, you get to be yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you just come in there, you just be raw about it, and you just talk with flow. and just, let everything else fall by the wayside. So it's just really, it's a beautiful thing. Um, yeah, and I don't like to criticize myself. Again, if you're going to be your own best friend in this life, which, that is definitely one of the goals I feel in this life, is to be your best friend. Then it's like you have to do yourself some favors sometimes, and you'd be doing yourself a favor by not looking back at your ex videos, because that's like literally like dating. Like if you break up with somebody, in the dating realm, it's like you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you kind of like went running back to them after they literally had, behaved in a certain way where they don't give a shit about you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't do that to yourself, and you're powerful enough not to do that to yourself. So and because you'd be doing it for yourself, and that's a beautiful thing. My hair today is so beautiful. It's beyond. I'm just gonna put it. I'm just gonna put it. It is so flat. It's just so funny, because I'm like, okay. I mean, I've seen flatter, like when, like my hair is usually kind of flat. Like it goes flat when it's not wavy. When it's straight. But like this is really like, it's like, because it's like I said, it's like humid, but it's moist out, so my hair is like really, it's kind of on the heavier side, but up top it's like fluffy, and I just like went with like these like beachy, like I don't give a fuck vibes today, because I feel like a rock star, and I'm like, rock stars don't give a shit sometimes, and that's what I'm doing right now. Um, Oh, and so I think we're at the end of it, which is interesting because we just made it to an hour. Uh, yeah. Okay. You want to hear my other ideas though for today? I'll go into it really quick. Is number one. These were the runner-ups, about like, about like kind of, I guess, some like definitely relatable to me, but I don't know how relatable they were today to me. Um, so women need to be nurtured by men, but men also need to be empowered to nurture themselves. And but in a sense, we have to nurture each other still, right? So it's like a back and forth. It's a give and take. It's that infinity symbol that I like to call it. Like, you take one side, I'll take one side. You take one side, I'll take one side. So it's like never ending. So it says, so it all goes back to encouraging self love, and that's really what it is too. Um, to go into it, self love is truly something that I'm going to be talking about very soon. I think it's so important, and it is so like literally foundational, and it's game changing. And the people who, like, there's such a lack of it in this world because we've forgotten that. Today, I think the reason why this came up for me today was because I was like thinking about how, me as an independent woman, like, I'm independent, but I also, I've been like raised kind of independent, but I am naturally independent because I'm a Capricorn, but also with a Scorpio rising, so that's also a pretty independent sign. But also, so it's like double independency plus raised by brothers, where they're like, T, just get your shit done, and, don't talk, just do, just do, just do, just do. And I'm like, okay, guys, like, we're not all like doing everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to like discuss stuff sometimes. I laugh because I took that in the sexual orientation, as you already might have assumed. But like, yeah, so that's the whole thing. But I was thinking to myself that it's like, in the process of it all, I sometimes I forget to, like, that I need to be nurtured, and that needs to come from me first. But sometimes, like, we're so exhausted, even as entrepreneurs, right? Like, guys and girls alike, women and males alike, females and males alike. That's what I meant to say. Um, we all need to be nurtured, and sometimes we depend on other people to do it for us. But meanwhile, we can't have that. We have to depend on ourselves to do that. So if you need to even make time to do it, you have to schedule that shit in. You know what I'm saying? Because it needs to balance you out. You need that time for yourself in terms of whatever it is. Make even a list of what you can do for yourself to be self-nurtured. What are your favorite things to do? Like at night, put a mask on, or go get a massage, or anything self-preservation wise, do it, because like it's gonna help you. I'm sorry, I don't know if that just created. Oh, I don't know if my microphone just got in the way of. My hair just got in the way of the microphone, so I hope you heard all of that, but I'm pretty sure that you did. But it could be like shifty shady. You know what I'm talking about? Like when it's like, that's what I'm gonna call shifty shady. So yeah, but like, and that's the whole thing. But also, it's very interesting because I'm like, if you look at it from so many different perspectives, like women are like, no, we should be, and women really should be nurtured. I don't give a fuck. We deliver like in terms of children, so that really needs to be a fucking, like, everybody needs to bow down to that shit. I don't care what anybody says. You know what I'm saying? Because it's big, and if somebody's not bowing down to you because you're a female, then you need to fucking regulate that. I'm telling you that right now. And that's why Jewish men are supposedly so awesome at being husbands, because they get that aspect of life, that like we give birth, and at the end of the day, just by doing that in this life is enough. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's crazy enough. And then we don't even take into consideration the little fucking details, that I like to call the love is in the details aspect of things, where it's like our beautiful minds and how they work, and like, and how it's way different than the male simplicity. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I pray for simplicity for everybody, in terms of their minds, because it really helps. But other than that, like, I don't know when we're gonna get there with that. So we have to kind of help women along, because they're going through a lot. People don't realize how much a woman goes through, and emotionally, and with hormones and all this. Like, it's crazy. It's a little crazy. Sometimes it's crazy, and especially full moons, new moons. Like, there's so much intuition, empathy. Like, there's so much that a woman like is connected to, that like basically, like, I was even just thinking about how crazy it is. Like, today it's raining, right? And I like learned so much from nature, because I'm like, okay, well, I need to show up to life, because if life is being created for me, first of all, I need to be grateful, and I need to show up. Second of all, if there are bees outside creating it, which there's like a nest outside of like my sliding door, which we attempted to, like, because everybody in here is like, no nest. But like, the thing is, I know that bees are actually needed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, fuck it, just like let them do their thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all in this together anyway. What are they gonna do? They're not like termites, thank God forbid. But so they like have their honeycomb somewhere. But the whole thing is, they have this honeycomb thing going on, but they literally, on a day like this today, where it's like nasty, it's like raining, it's like drizzling out, you got to see them take off out of their little fucking hole that they're coming out of. They just like go, like, as if they're not even, nothing stopping them from bringing whatever they need to bring home to the queen. And therefore, this is what I'm saying, nature tends to its queens, and as the human race, we must tend to our queens, and our queens must be in control of what we will and will not be accepting. All right, so what we will accept and what we won't be accepting, and we have to be in control of that. Now, this is why I feel like sometimes the world is a crazy place, because some bitches are out there, dude, and they just like don't fucking know self-control. They don't even know how much control they have within themselves for them to regulate a situation, to be like, what the fuck are you doing? And that's all you gotta do. You just gotta bring awareness to a situation. Like, I was just talking to, this might be too TMI, but I don't give a fuck. because I like TMI. Um, because then you like learn more. You know what I'm saying? But so like I was just talking. I made a new friend through this group, and I was just talking to her, and I was like, I don't know what we were talking about, but I was like, oh, that's kind of like that's why you're not supposed to give it up too much. Like you're not supposed to give it up to the world because mystery is beautiful, and that's literally what it is. It's like women need to be a little bit more mysterious instead of so giving sometimes. And the thing is, like, and I'm not saying like to deplete your man or your female, whatever sex you're into. I'm not saying like don't give it up. I'm just saying be in your own power, know and be honest with yourself whether or not you feel like giving up anything. Do you know what I'm saying? Because so many women these days, I've noticed in the straight realm, I'm talking about, they just like are like catering to these men, and I'm like, it's a beautiful thing, but there are men that don't fucking give a fuck. They're out there just fucking girls and they just don't give a fuck. And the whole thing is, it's like it's up to us women to fucking be a little bit more discerning because we don't think with our bottoms. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't think with that part. We think with our minds, and we are the ones that choose. So it's like, and I'm not saying that out of you felt that, right? Like I'm not saying that out of like negativity. I'm saying, or like, oh, we're so in the right and women empowerment. No, I'm saying that it's just normal for us to fucking think things through a little bit for the men and for ourselves, right? Like that it's not normal to give up something, to give so much of yourself, especially unknown stuff, especially like mystery, right? To give it up to somebody else who isn't even appreciative of it, who isn't even kind towards you, who just has you around as a fucking side chick or whatever. Like, what are you doing? Like, what? That's crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And you're okay with that, and you're willing to fucking like, dude. You again, there's only one of you. What are you doing with that one of you? You have to understand that you can't just give it up like that. You know what I'm saying? So yesterday I was talking to that girl about mystery, and I'm like, that's what it is. We have to, the universe is mysterious, and that's why it's a little scary sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel also like that's why some guys there's that energy there where some guys don't know how to approach a girl because we on a mysterious level, they don't know us as like this. There's like, they know that there's a lot to us, they know that there is so much going on inside of us, but they don't know exactly what, and they don't know whether or not how we're going to react to them, even, right? On whatever day they come up to us, they don't even know how we're going to react to them, whether they're going to be rejected or accepted. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I think that's why guys are a little, they need to they are a little scared of us. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like it's just natural. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean guys should ever stop, because here's the thing. Us females who need to be nurtured, we need you guys to come up to us, and we need to have that little like interaction, because in a sense that is nurturing to like both yourself and to the female aspect. And if you actually, this is the thing, guys think that it's like, oh, they don't want to be rejected and it's all about them. No, if you approach a woman in a sense of, I want to do something nice for you, like nurture you, like if you kind of think creatively in terms of doing that, then a woman's gonna be like, holy shit, that is so fucking awesome, like that's fly. And you'll always stay in her mind as a really like a really, like, you did something different. It's amazing. Even if you pull it on different women, like who cares? Actually, just don't fucking do that. Do yourself a favor and just like be fresh all the time, and be like, because listen, whenever you're dealing with a different, you think that we're all the same. No, we're not. There's only one of us. Remember that. One of us that exists in the world. And if you literally like use the same fucking pickup line, you're actually really being disrespectful. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you're not doing yourself a service, because of the fact that you need to literally be creative, be like a child. And not only that, but we all have, again, going back to there's only one of us, you're dealing with a different energy. There's a different energy there. So not everybody's gonna like this same fucking pickup line. Just get a different spice. Just like and feel a girl out. Like be like, oh, maybe she like this. Maybe you know what I'm saying. Like take your time. You don't have to like go like target in. But at the same time, this is also what I was gonna say too. No, I wasn't really gonna say this, but it's coming up. Is that like okay? For instance, there's two things coming up. Like so, when I went out the other night with a friend, I actually ended up meeting like two brothers, and it's so funny because like one was like I was totally like driving with one. I was playing around with one of them. Oh, it's back to recording. Okay, I don't know what the hell just happened there. There was a there's like a there's like a glitch going on, so hopefully you guys will be able to hear me. I'll go for like another 15 minutes. Anyhow, so long story short, like what was I gonna say? So they both like fucking both brothers, hilarious. They use the same pickup line on me, except for the fact that it was at different times. Like one brother did it and then the other brother was introduced to me, and then the first brother that did it, he walked away, and then the second brother, he used the same pickup line on me, and I was like, your brother just did that. Like that's fucked up. So if you're gonna have your brother as a side, I was gonna say side hustle. Oh my god, that's so fucked up. As a not side hustle, as a right hand man, like you guys can't have the fucking same pickup line. Like you can try, but like it's stupid. You know what I'm saying? I don't take any offense to it though because I find it actually hilarious and I like to be a part of it. Like I like to be like in the like fuck it, use it, because like the whole thing is it's like you open my world when I hear like different things, you know what I'm saying? But we were just joking around about it. I was like, dude, because I was like sharing up with him, like, yo, your brother just literally used that line on me, like, come on. And he was like laughing hysterically. He's like, no, he did it. I'm like, yeah, he did. God bless. I actually have to reach out to them because like I haven't at all. And they're good peeps. So yeah, so that's and then what was another thing that I was getting? Maybe that was I don't know. There was something else there that I wanted to say, but like yeah, just like dude, you guys like that's literally it's a beautiful thing. Just do something a little out of the norm, and do something kind. Like kind, out of the norm, creative. Like dude, those are all really refreshing and fun shit for yourself and for that other person. You know what I'm saying? And that person will never forget it. Um what was I gonna say? Okay. And then the next thing I had, because I was like, I can go on and on with this topic. I kind of love it. Okay. So the next thing I wrote down is you must not dwell in the shadow for too long, or if you do, learn to be grateful there. I don't know why I came up with that. I don't know why I came up with that, but that was my second one, my second tip. But see, like I like even when I read it, like I'm not really fully connected to it, so it makes sense for you to have something fresh for your day, or fresh out of your day that you pluck and you kind of like use it towards your videos. That's why you know it's interesting. People are like, oh, just create videos like, if you're going on vacation and like just have videos lined up. And I'm like, I kind of like that works because, yeah, you're like prepared and stuff and you're able to give the videos. But like, I'm kind of more like in the now, like, let's live it now. You know what I'm saying? And then whatever happens, because there's an urgency when I do it like right now, like this is right now for me, like there's an urgency and I find it of importance. But like if there isn't an urgency, like if I'm just recording for like just another day to have it, like I find it very like business oriented. Like it's just not that's not a fun aspect of it. Um, but also it's like you can be a little bit more relatable and you can be a little bit more refreshing, and so and it's not really fun to me when I know that like I'm not sending this out like tonight or like that kind of thing. So you have to kind of, this is why I love self mastery, because it's like you have to kind of figure out what works for you. And this is me discovering what works for me. Not because I didn't know these things until I'm kind of like in the mode, but then I'm also writing them down to like I'm writing them down via reflection, via like they're coming through on so many different levels. You know what I'm saying? Like in different ways that you just have to kind of you just have to you just have to see what works for you, and sift through this stuff. So that's what I'm saying. When you write down your emotions, and that goes for guys and girls also, like for the world, for I mean, if a deer could write, I would say, yo, deer, go write, because like you have emotions too. Do you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, the deer doesn't write. We're obviously more intellectual compared to all these other animals, and the animal kingdom or whatever. But the thing is, like, we have to actually show up intellectually also. Like, we have to show up for ourselves intellectually, because, excuse me, we are that different being, right? So it's like we have to put in some of the work. We can't just expect, like, live our days, come home, and just like sit in front of the TV and just go fucking numb. Like, that's not how this life should be lived. I'm sorry, it's really not. It's like whatever. I was even thinking, like, this is like a total way off topic, but I was thinking how what's that guy's name, Dan Blitzer or whatever. I don't know. I was like watching him yesterday on the Filthy Rich channel, which actually was so entertaining. I fucking like, I love how eye opening that is, but also I will be doing a video on that, because let me just tell you something. There's so much to learn there too, and so much to be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what the fuck are these people thinking? Because like a lot of this stuff is not even fun. Like, it's just so crazy. It's like, because they just don't know what to do with their money, so they're just like, okay, I mean, that sounds good, that sounds different, whatever, and so you're gonna do that. But I'm like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, that's not even fun. That's not even, like, you're just spending to spend money. Meanwhile, if you're gonna spend to spend money, like, go fucking feed somebody, or like feel better about where you're spending the money. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Crazy shit. Anyhow, so that's all I gotta say. It's like, I gotta ground these people, seriously. But and so about Dan, right? So Dan, like, God bless, he did his thing, whatever. But like, I was thinking about him, like, he he's surrounded, like, he like loves his guns, right? But I'm like I don't know, like, I'm like, intellectually, like, you learned that from somewhere, and that's definitely not something that you even thought about. Like, I feel like guys, like, just are born, when they're born, like, people are like, okay, cars, okay, you're gonna fucking love guns, okay, you're gonna love fucking video games, you're gonna fucking love, like, all this shit that I'm just like, do we even just like let these kids be? Like, I don't understand. So it's way off topic, like I said, but like with Dan, like, he like ends up like going and he shoots like in the desert or whatever, and I'm like, has he ever thought once in his life, like, okay, he might be doing something with his money, and he might like say, hey, like, let's go shoot some guns today, but like, did you actually think about, like, do you like shooting guns, or is it something you're doing just out of fucking boredom? Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's a taught thing, I feel, that like we didn't unlearn. So like, so not that I'm saying, because again, guns can be used recreationally, or guns can be used fucking towards somebody, and that's not a good look. But like, when it's recreational, it's kind of okay, like, because you're not like, and I'm not saying hunting, because I'm not for hunting either. However, that happens, and you're just gonna have to kind of accept it. But at the same time, if that's not that, those are people who are not thinking either. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to say, is like, have these people ever actually put thought into what they're doing? They're actually sleeping. They're sleepwalking. That's what I like to call them. They're like fucking sleepwalking people, just doing what they're told to do because they're male or female. But have they tried rock climbing? Have they tried fucking other things that, maybe they're not, like, they weren't exposed to? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, keep it fresh for yourself. Like, you don't have to show up how the world expects you to show up. Like, you know what I'm saying? In terms of, like, I was just thinking about myself today. I'm like, I show up like in so many different ways. I love when it's yellow out. Do you guys notice that sometimes, like when it's raining and it like doesn't know what to do, like whether it's like it becomes yellow and it's like thunderstormy and it's like what, and it's, so I've never actually noticed it, but I notice the glow right now. And I'm like, I love when it is yellow out like that because it's like it's still daylight, it's still whatever. It's so fucking fun. So I'm gonna go be with the storm a little bit outside, just to collect those blessings. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, but like that's the whole thing. It's like think about how you want to do it because my whole thing is it's like, oh, I was LOLing like hardcore to this girl that does readings, and she's like, she's like, look at me guys, and she's like, I'm I'm both like stones, like healing stones, and she's like, I'm both, like spiritual, and I'm both like bougie. Like I'm like what, and I was like, oh my. She's like, I love my diamonds. I love this, and I was like, yo, this is so funny because I'm like, that's who I am, but some people aren't okay with that. Some people look at me and they're like, oh my god, this bitch, like, she's like materialistic, and I'm like, actually, I'm not though, like at all. Like I'm like I like nice things. I like nice looking things, but when it comes down to like, name brand shit, like I don't need to have name brand shit. Like I just like nice looking things. I don't know how to describe it, but you can buy nice looking things also for like not like, so to me, I love how I do shit because it's like it's smart yet practical yet like you're not spending so much money. Like there's some chicks that I'm like, yo, how are you okay? Like how do you feel okay with having like one job that doesn't even pay a lot, and yet you have other fucking shit to pay for, but I mean maybe they have a sugar daddy, whatever. I mean, but there are some people that like have their fucking like, have like this like magical and materialistic bag for so much money that I'm like, it doesn't even make sense to just pay so much money for a fucking bag when you're gonna wear it like, once in a while on your nice, nights out, or I mean, some people use it all the time, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't make sense to buy like a really expensive pair of shoes or a really expensive pair of like, and again, I'm not against it, but I'm saying like just according to your lifestyle, bro. Like, have you ever thought about your lifestyle? Have you ever thought about like what you think is cool and what you don't think is cool, and not just go with what you're told what the fuck is cool? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just so that shit's like annoying. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, dude, God bless. Like I'm not a haterade in any sense of the word. I will be like, God bless everybody because you chose to do whatever you're choosing to do. But at the same time, sometimes shit is like kind of illogical with people that I'm like, how are you choosing to like not eat today versus having a fucking, like a nice pair of shoes? Like, that's stupid. Who are you doing that for? That's like, you're literally just putting yourself in like a debt if you are in debt with it. You know what I'm saying? For a bag. Like, just realistically, it doesn't fucking make sense. I don't even know. It's like, also, when I'm like, I was just thinking too the other day when I was watching the Filthy Rich channel, I'm like, yo, everybody's so like, it's so funny how like all the rich people are like looking for rich people when literally they need to be balanced, right? So instead of looking rich to be with rich, which they think is like in the bloodstream, which it's not, it's it's literally like to balance your psyche out, which is actually more sexy. And you're gonna feel more like you're gonna feel like alive more rather than being just choosing somebody because they are at your money status. Like, to me, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, because you can teach that. You can literally teach a person how to live at a higher, level of life. I'm actually getting like so hot. You can teach that at a human being to spend money. Like, that can be taught. You know what I'm saying? But the quality is like that needs to be there. And with these people who are dating people of, like of money and of wealth, I'm like, God bless that you guys are trying to keep it in the family, but I feel like you're getting more stupid like that. Like, you're literally like getting more stupid because you're not thinking. You're like numb to what the fuck. You're numb to like awareness and what the fuck is going on actually around you, right? And so this is why, for instance, Princess Diana, I mean, I don't know her background story. I can't even remember if she came from a royal family. I can't remember. I want to say mediocre, but then I'm like, it can't be. But maybe, I don't know. I mean, Cinderella fucking exists. I mean, you just never know. So let's just take her as something. But like, even though it doesn't matter what whether she came from money or she didn't come from money, it matters the fact that she was actually right in her head. She was thinking about other people and not so much herself, but yet she still had money. So, but the thing is, she was surrounded by so many people with money that were outside of their minds in terms of like numb. You know what I'm saying? Numb to it all, where they found her fucking crazy because they're like, oh my god, she's doing, what is she doing? Like, you know, like it makes no fucking sense. This is not the lifestyle we live, whatever, you know, and they found her problem. So it's like, see, it's only a problem because they weren't open minded. They just didn't have, but yet she was such a blessing to them because it's like, if they would have given her a chance, she would have fucking opened their minds up, but they were threatened by her, right? So I mean, this is what I'm thinking. This is like the essence, the feelings that I'm getting out of it. I actually don't know. I haven't read up on any stories. I don't know. You know, I like I don't even like. I'm actually like I don't mind celebrity stuff. I just don't follow it. Like it's one of those things that I just don't like check into every day. Like let's see what everybody's doing because it's like no, I'm my own celebrity. I have to fucking watch out for myself in terms of what is it that I'm fucking doing because I have shit to do in this life and I gotta get it done. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So okay. So anyhow, long story short, that would be my suggestion to everybody else. Is like you know, at the end of the day, if you're wealthy, you need to rebalance, dude. This is why you're not finding true love because, and that's why you're trying to you know, you're going through five different fucking women, and it's like, how many times are you gonna fucking be like, like, or accepting of the fact that you're like getting like married, divorced, like that shit's expensive. Not that you give a shit, but like that's annoying too to be with like so many different women having to go through the same shit. Meanwhile, like you're just not happy at the end of the day, right? So, but if you were to counterbalance yourself a little bit, like with what you have, majority of, but then also like counterbalance it with somebody that's like not of your lifestyle, you'll meet in the happy medium middle and you're gonna fucking be extremely happy. Like that's my equation. Okay, that's literally my equation. That's what I want for everybody is just meet in the middle because there are people out there that like you know that are looking for love too, and just because they're not you know wealthy of stature doesn't mean that they're not classy, doesn't mean that they don't know shit. That doesn't mean they can't be taught. You know, like you just have to be open minded on all different levels. And there are people who are poor and closed minded, and that's why they are poor, right? So, and not poor, because poor is actually wealthy to me, but like you know, because if you give a shit, that's what I'm trying to say. Then you're actually wealthy, while being on the poor side. But like if you don't give a shit, then you're not fucking wealthy, even when you're poor. It's like because then you're on fucking welfare. That's what I'm trying to say. So, anyhow, I'm gonna end it here, guys. I love you so much. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll bring you another one of my opinionated videos tomorrow. So yeah, look forward to that. All right, I love you guys so much. Mwah. Talk to you soon.